In the mid-1500s, European monarchs looked toward the Mediterranean with genuine dread. A highly disciplined, rapidly expanding military machine had swallowed the Balkans, conquered Hungary, and was marching directly toward the gates of Vienna. At the center of this expansion was Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. He commanded a centralized state that could mobilize resources and manpower on a scale unmatched by any other nation of the era. For a fractured Christian Europe, the Ottoman advance was a psychological nightmare. Feudal armies, largely made up of untrained peasants, were repeatedly crushed by a unified professional military force that prioritized discipline over individual glory. By 1550, the Sultan's court functioned as the world's primary superpower, commanding the most vital trade routes and deciding the fate of entire nations across 3 continents. 3 centuries later, the image was unrecognizable. The empire was bankrupt, hemorrhaging its outer provinces, and openly mocked in diplomatic circles as the sick man of Europe. The state only survived because Britain and France found its existence convenient. The rival powers actively propped the Ottomans up, purely to block Russia from marching south and claiming the strategic jewel of Constantinople. The military and political systems forged to expand the realm had become the very weight that crushed it, leading to a collapse that was engineered by its own ancient successes. The early sultans secured their dominance by aggressively adopting heavy gunpowder artillery at a time when most rival powers still relied on cavalry and medieval fortifications. While traditional siege tactics took years, the Ottomans utilized massive artillery units to pulverize the stone walls of ancient fortresses in a matter of weeks. These were not crude iron tubes. The Ottomans produced single-passed bronze cannons that could withstand massive explosive charges, giving them a level of firepower that European armies could not replicate. Supporting this artillery were the Janissaries. They were a standing professional army of infantrymen, paid directly by the state and sworn to absolute loyalty to the Sultan himself. This combination of centralized leadership, professional discipline, and superior weaponry made the early empire the most efficient war machine in the world. But the source of Ottoman wealth was under threat. European nations, looking for a way to break the Ottoman trade monopoly, redirected their commerce across the Atlantic Ocean, effectively moving the center of the world's economy. This graph shows the result. As European ships flooded the market with silver from the Americas, the value of Ottoman currency crashed. Prices across the empire climbed 500%, triggering a 5-fold spike in inflation that destabilized every level of society. Without losing a major campaign on the battlefield, the Ottoman Empire had been stripped of its status as the world's most prosperous merchant state. With no new lands left to conquer, the elite classes turned their aggression inward. Internal factions began fighting for influence over the state's remaining treasury. The Sultan no longer rode at the head of his armies. Instead, he remained confined within the palace, where political power was brokered by a circle of advisors, wives, and eunuchs within the imperial harem. The Janissaries, once the elite of the military, transformed into a corrupt political lobby. They became a law unto themselves, even resorting to the assassination of sultans who attempted to reform or modernize the army. The structures that built the empire had locked into place. While the rest of the world industrialized, the Ottoman government remained paralyzed by the very traditions that had once made it great. By the late 1700s, this stagnation led to disaster on the battlefield. The Ottoman military suffered a string of crushing defeats at the hands of rapidly modernizing Russian and Austrian field armies. To pay for these wars, the empire took out massive high-interest loans from European banks, simply to keep its basic government functions from collapsing. When the empire finally defaulted, European creditors seized control. They established a foreign-led administration that diverted Ottoman tax revenue directly into the hands of European investors. By the late 19th century, the Ottoman Empire had lost its economic sovereignty, becoming a financial vassal to the very nations it once threatened. In a final effort to survive, a period of reform known as the Tanzimat attempted to modernize the empire's infrastructure and legal codes to match Western standards. They established a parliament and a constitutional monarchy, hoping to create a unified national identity for a population that was deeply divided along ethnic and religious lines. But the effort was too little, too late. These reforms were sabotaged by traditionalists at home and outpaced by nationalist revolutions in the provinces that were eager for total independence. With its territory fracturing and its economy controlled by foreign banks, the empire made a desperate gamble to reclaim its status. In 1914, it entered World War I on the side of Germany. It was a brutal mismatch. Hundreds of thousands of Ottoman troops died in the trenches, fighting a global conflict for which they were severely under-resourced compared to the industrialized powers. Following the defeat, victorious European powers began the partition of the empire, carving the Middle East into British and French mandates. In 1922, the 600-year-old Sultanate was formally abolished, ending the imperial line and clearing the way for the birth of the modern Republic of Turkey. It remains a stark reminder: even the most terrifying power cannot survive the relentless march of time if it chooses to cling to the past while the world moves forward.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to NovaMind for more inspiring thoughts and ideas.